What's up, everybody? Arrg the Pirate here, and today I'm going to be playing a little Kwang in the off lane. As always, let's go over the deck. Now I have Auto Health Potion, Ruthless, Mana Generator, Healing Towers, Mana Reactor, and lastly Damage Return for my gems. Now for my cards, I have Armored Footman, Exoskeleton, Flame of Zetchin, Green Spring, Growth Totem, Swift Hunter, Coursing Zephyr, Thunder Cleaver, Battle Shepherd, Sacred Alchemy, Trapper, and lastly Unbroken Spirit. So before y'all really look into this and tell me I'm wrong, I actually used a jungle deck because I don't have a whole lot of deck slots on this account yet. And I'm constantly recycling decks, and I went and recycled deck, but I forgot to change out the gems, and I'm actually using Jungle Lifesteal and Jungle Assassin for my gems, so that is one thing, and I didn't realize it for a long time. I get beat up pretty good, and I'm going, man, why am I not healing up? But we end up having a good match regardless of that, but putting on healing towers, guys, it's so huge. And to be quite honest, if you want auto health potion, you don't have to take it, but, you know, playing an offlaner with Jungle Assassin is just really pointless, in my opinion. Now, I have had a ton of games lately that we constantly get DCs, which you can see we got a DC at the beginning of this match, and I don't want to post DC videos. You know, I really want to focus on gameplay, things like that. And when you have DCs, it just makes it just really, really tough to do. And not only that, we've had a ton of surrenders lately as well, where, you know, you're just not able to complete the game. And I like being able to complete the game. Not only does it, you know, it's rewarding, but it also shows late game, you know, the very late game aspect. And unfortunately, we do get a surrender in this match, and this is, I want to say, my 6th or 7th Kwang video that I've had one of these issues in, and this is the one that lasted the longest. So I'm going to go ahead and post this. You know, don't yell at me too much, guys. I really, you know, I can't control what the enemy does, and with the amount of DCs we've had lately, it's just absolutely incredible that Paragon is even running, it seems. But we're making some good progress, and our jungler Lamsey is actually able to return back into the game, you know, within the first few minutes, but it is going to make my job just a little bit harder. Now, this is when I first realized, hey, I don't have healing towers, and, you know, this is really affecting how I play. You saw I'm playing a little aggressive because Kwang does have such great lifesteal, not only if you have healing towers, but with his abilities. And, you know, this does kind of throw me off a little bit, and I'm not going to be able to play near as aggressive, but that's quite alright. You know, hey, I understand what's going on now, and hopefully we can make some adjustments. Now, one thing I also tried to do with this deck, and just with this gameplay, is not play typically like I always do, where I'm very standoffish in the off lane for the most part. You know, I like to wait till people come in and, you know, kind of do my thing. I am playing a lot more aggressive, and this is just to kind of show the difference in playing an aggressive offlaner as well as playing a, you know, more passive offlaner for that beginning game. You know, for those first, you know, 5 to 10 minutes, if you play very aggressive, you know, you're going to take a little bit more damage, things like that. And this was a great match to do that because they do have a melee ADC, and you know, dealing with a melee ADC allows you to play a little more aggressive, and it's much harder for them to actually come into tower and do damage. You can see we do have a pretty good chunk of the damage on the tower already, but the enemy team decided to back off there instead of coming into that tower. And, you know, that's kind of one thing that frees you up with that melee ADC. Now, I do get 3 points, and I'm able to head back and throw on Green Spring. And like I said, I am trying to do new things instead of just building that typical kind of tanky-ish offlaner. I'm going with, you know, this deck with Sacred Alchemy, which kind of makes you tanky anyways, and Trapper, which, you know, this combo on Kwang is really good. You have that built-in sustain mechanic. You are able to really provide a lot of peel for your team and still stay alive. I have tried Compensator Rig on Kwang, and, you know, I'm just kind of underwhelmed with Compensator Rig in general, but I don't feel it's a very good fit for Kwang if you rush it. If you pick it up late game, you know, hey, no problem, but really any card's great late game. Now, if you notice there, as soon as Yin went into the tower, I just went after FaZe. And one thing about that is FaZe typically will pull their ADC out of the tower to help, you know, deal with that, because FaZe is very weak. And if she left Yin in that tower and got out of range of her tether, you know, I'm definitely going to kill her. So this successfully zoned them out from under my tower, even though, you know, my tower's one hit. It's going to go down no problem. But, you know, this saved it just for a little bit longer. And with our jungler having that DC, you know, his entire rotation is thrown off. He's not able to really rotate as well. I should be expecting a rotate very quick, but, you know, being DC'd for that first 3 minutes is, you know, kind of painful. Now, I was going to face off against the enemy team there, and, you know, their Crunch shows up. He's got green buff. You know, I gotta get out. And I'm able to throw my sword and successfully run a distance, you know, use my ult to back up. Morgesh does show up to try to zone for me a little bit. But if you see here, I cut to mid lane. And that was because I kept vision on the minimap and I saw where the enemy team was going. If I would have ran through the jungle right there, they would have came in behind me or in front of me and actually killed me. So keeping vision on the map is absolutely huge, guys. And, you know, just that 1 second of looking going, hey, where is the enemy team? I was able to save my life. It did cost me my ult, but that's quite alright. An ult without dying is amazing. So definitely keep vision on the map, guys. It will tremendously help you out. Now, I have been trying to use Flame lately. I'm just not a huge fan of Flame, guys. I did save 500 points to be able to put it on, and you know, it just completely slips my mind to use it because it's really gone away since the nerf, and now it's really important to use it to secure Fang, things like that. You know, you can very easily steal with Flame if you get it ranked up, but, you know, it slips my mind all the time to even use it. And you can see right here, there's no reason for me not to use it. I forget. I never use this card, so, you know, it's very easy to forget. But Flame is also a very great card for being free. If you buy it when it's free, it gives you a little bit of attack speed and really allows you to do, you know, more than you normally would. Now, I do rotate to mid, and we're able to go in on this Shimby a little bit. And, you know, Crunch decides to dive her, but, you know, hey, let's get out and let's push this lane. You know, I don't think she's going to be much of a threat. She is half health and fairly low on mana. So, you know, if she uses an ability, she's not going to have her rush. But since Crunch actually completely dipped out of that, we're not able to force that tower without me having any power as well. So I'm just going to leave that. You know, we might have forced her to back. Being low on mana, half health, she'll probably end up leaving. And I'm just going to head back to my lane, get it secured, get it pushing, and maybe actually get some new cards put on. Now, I am in a 4-stack with the only person not being in our group is Narbash. And having a support not in comms makes things a little bit tough, especially when you have, you know, such a great initiator or such a great frontline like Narbash. Not having those comms is a little more difficult, but no problem at all. Now, I do head to mid lane, and I'm able to tell Morgesh, hey, let's go in on this Shimby. Fortunately, she does get out, and her ultimate almost takes Morgesh out. No problem there. You know, we still are fairly early on in the match. You know, not a whole lot of power being put on at this point, but here in just a few more minutes, we will start hitting our power scale, or, you know, start equipping those power cards, and we'll be able to actually do a lot more. Now, I do head back to my off lane. You can see I'm doing these very quick rotations to mid. I go in, kind of do my thing, and then head back to my lane, because with my tower being down and their tower still being up, the enemy is going to, you know, protect that tower. So I'm not going to be able to set this lane and leave it for an extended period of time. And these quick rotations allow me to do what I need to do and, you know, provide some needed assistance in mid lane, especially without having that DC in the jungle. And this really allows our mid lane to play just a little bit safer. But since we did have that DC, of course, our early game is going to suffer a little bit. Now, I do end up pushing my lane all the way to their tier 1. And this is just simply because I want to create some pressure and get their yin, get their support back to this off lane, or, our off lane. I want them back here so they can get out of mid lane. We have not downed our safe lane tower yet, so I need to keep my pressure up so the enemy team is forced to stay in lane and they're not free to just, roam around everywhere. Now, once I'm able to do that, I go ahead and back, and I'm going to throw on my growth totem. I'm really building into that Sacred Alchemy. I want Sacred Alchemy as my first card. That will provide some amazing sustain, but it does kind of limit my early game abilities. I don't really have just an entire lot of damage at the moment, but that's quite alright. Now, I do head to mid. We've got something going down in mid. I need to be here. And we kind of get a little bit of damage on Crunch, but I'm just going to leave Crunch alone. I'm actually able to root that Shimby, and we end up getting that kill as well. Now, Crunch is low. He probably should have got out. And with Murdoch getting that snipe, we're able to secure that kill. So we turned this situation around. That was a great play. We were able to rotate. That really helped our team out. But Yin did chase our Morgesh, and hey, I'm going to go secure her. Now, I don't see her in my jungle. That means she's running down lane. I go ahead and head over to lane. Sure enough, here she is. Me and Narbash, he rotated with me, and we're able to take her out fairly easy. So we did lose a T1 in mid, but we end up getting 3 kills, and, that's completely worth it. That's also going to allow us to head to this off-lane tower and get tons of damage on it. With Narbash being here, we are going to be able to down this tower. Now, Narbash does... he plays just a little bit too aggressive here. He goes in on that fight when he could have just helped me with the tower and then get out. And, I'm not going to die for this. Later on, I end up helping him when I would have normally got out. But I'm not going to die for him. I'm going to leave. Hopefully he can get out. And sure enough, he does. From here, I need to head somewhere else. I need to head to Raptors. I need to head to mid lane. I need to do something because... we did decide to take Raptors, and we have a ton of pressure in our mid lane. But fortunately, we're able to secure Raptors. Shimby is heading over to that Raptor pit. I don't think she was heading over there to help. I think she was running away. But we are able to secure that Shimby kill as well. Now, I did try to get my root. I'm terrible. I don't play Kwang all that much, so I miss stuff all the time. But... the enemy team did rotate over to this Raptor pit, and hey, it's time to get out, guys. We don't need to be fighting this. The enemy's coming in staggered, and we're slowly getting chipped down in health. I'm not just the tankiest hero right now. With only having Green Spring, I definitely need to get out. They have a lot of ability damage on their team. Crunch, Shimby, I need to leave. So, that's exactly what I do. I head back to my off lane, and we're going to continue our farm. Now, I end up saving up another 1,000 points so I can keep Green Spring on with that Sacred Alchemy. So I'll have some decent, armor, I've got some decent sustain, and with Sacred Alchemy, I'm going to start cranking out some damage. Yin is not expecting me, and I head up, you can see, I'm not just head in and start hitting her, and Yin should be less fed than me. At this point in the match, I'm definitely stronger than she is. And, that's just how the game works. That's how ADCs work. She tries everything to get out, but we're able to take her out. It does cost quite a bit of mana, but you can see with having this much sustain, I am able to get quite a bit of mana back, able to tank those minions, and, I end up fully healing through all of that damage. Now, Greystone is pushing our safe lane, so I need to get over there and really help out. Our team was able to just push the mid lane and actually able to take down that tier 2. So that's absolutely huge. But losing a tier 2 for a tier 2, in my opinion, is not worth it. And since I was able to make that rotation, we are able to secure that Greystone kill and save that T2. So we had a great job there. That was a great play. They lose an off lane, they lose an ADC, and their mid tier 2, great plays all around. Narbash alone would not have been able to save that tower, and with our Murdoch showing up, he was able to port back from mid and show up. He might have been able to make an impact, but having all three of us show up there secured that kill. You know, that was a great play on our entire team's part. Like I said, I don't really think trading towers is worth it, but taking a mid T2 and losing a safe lane T2 might be worth it. But if you can secure that, definitely go for it. Now, the enemy team is going in on Raptors, so I've got to head over there. You know, I've got my lane set decently enough, and sure enough, we head over there. I'm able to get that kill onto Shinbi. We're able to take out their Yin as well. You know, Crunch is doing everything he can to get away, but he doesn't. And, you know, I just kind of paused there. I was waiting for someone to kill Crunch, but when that stun wore out, I was going to go for it. But sure enough, our ADC was able to secure that kill. And, you know, getting a 4-pick for that Raptor play, you know, that's great. We did lose Raptor, but that's no problem at all. You know, 4 kills for Raptor is by far worth it. Now is the time to push lanes, though, guys. So, I do head to mid, but I see, hey, you know, we can definitely make something happen in this off lane, or in the safe lane. So, I'm going to head over there, help Murdoch get this. It'd have been nice to go on that inhib, but you can see the spawn times are very quick, and they probably would have spawned back in before we would have got there. So it's much better to take an objective you know you can get than to force an objective you might not be able to get. And with that, setting that off lane, you can see we've got a huge wave that they're eventually going to have to deal with. This is going to allow us to back and really go push other objectives. You know, now is a great time to go for Prime or something like that. And sure enough, we've got those Winions on that tower, and they're just doing work. Now, FaZe is heading over there to deal with that, but we see Shinbi is out of position a little bit. We're going to go head over to Shinbi, and we're actually able to take her out as well. So we're getting staggered deaths on the enemy side, which is absolutely huge. Getting these staggered deaths is just really, really important when you want to start really pushing objectives, because staggered deaths, you know, it's just like having a hero DC'd. It's very hard to deal with. Right now would be a perfect time to go for Prime, but Narbash is caught way, way out, and he's actually going to go down here, and Crunch didn't quite rotate fast enough. Morgesh needed to go back, so we decided, hey, let's not go for Prime. It's just not the best time right now. We can wait. We'll just keep this pressure up, keep the enemy, you know, having to defend, and this will allow us to kind of get more and more ready to go for Prime. Now from here, I have pushed that lane. I did not set that lane. And so I'm going to head back to base, and I need to head to our safe lane. You know, our safe lane is being pushed by Greystone, and I do tell my team, hey guys, we need to keep an eye out on our off lane. And we just didn't quite have the rotation that we should have, and we end up losing a T2. But that's quite alright. I do get enough farm to put on Trapper, so now, you know, I've got some pretty good sustain, and I hurt, so that's great. Now, Morgesh was being chased down by their Yin, and we're able to head over, do a little peel for her, and keep her alive. You know, Yin's really hurting at this point, so we definitely have to be aware of her. And being that melee and having that, you know, reflect ability, it can be very difficult for a caster to deal with a Yin. So we just have to be aware that, you know, Yin is a tough hero for casters, and we need to peel whenever we can. We did a great job there. That ended up saving that Morgesh, and, you know, luckily she's able to get out. Now from here, they have a huge presence in mid, and I'm going to act like I'm going back to my lane. Hopefully this will, you know, the enemies will push up, but we can see, since we do have a ward onto Fang, we can see they're going for Fang. And, you know, hey, let's collapse on that, take care of that. Our lane should be set good enough, but I would rather steal Fang and get a couple of kills than risk losing Fang. Sure enough, we're able to take everybody out, or, you know, we end up zoning that Yin out, and we're able to take out Shinbi. This allows us to get Fang uncontested, and, you know, 2 Fangs is huge. Now, their team does end up heading in, and, you know, I think this was probably a poor choice on their part. They should have just let us have Fang, maybe try to take us out one by one afterwards, but, you know, sure enough, Crunch heads in, we're able to take him out. Yin does get out, but, you know, she doesn't have a whole lot of support. their phase is actually pushing our off lane, which, you know, phase doesn't have a whole lot of lane push, so I'm not too concerned about that lane being pushed. Now, we could push mid lane right now, and, you know, it might not be the best idea, but a great idea would be going for Prime. And since we were able to secure that phase kill on our off lane side, you know, now's a great time for Prime, guys. Now, our Murdoch is pushing safe lane, so of course we're in comms and we're kind of talking about things. I'm going to go ahead and get this lane pushing before I head to Prime. This will allow Murdoch to start his rotation over, and, you know, having a Murdoch in that Prime pit is absolutely huge, especially when they still have all their damage dealers up. You know, FaZe is the only one down at this point, so we definitely want to get everybody over and secure this Prime before they can have a chance to come back and steal it. And, you know, that's exactly what we do. And sure enough, you know, Prime doesn't stand a chance. Now, Lifesteal and Sacred Alchemy do not work on Prime anymore, so having a rotation is absolutely huge because, you know, those little missiles hurt a lot. And you can see I am taking quite a bit of damage. Now it's time to split push, and I like split pushing the off lane and the mid lane. Our safe lane does need adjustment, so one hero is going to head over there, but that should not be the ADC. ADC needs to stay because he's the big damage dealer. Now this is the time that I'm talking about, you know, our Narbash, you know, I don't know why he went on this. You know, that was a very poor choice. We end up actually sticking around and helping him out. We do have Prime, so hopefully we can make something happen. Sure enough, I'm going to take out Crunch. You know, I think Crunch is a huge threat with his knockup. And then, you know, FaZe ends up staying in. I'm able to take her out as well. You know, I went blind, so I couldn't really see what I was doing. I was just swinging. Now, Yin chases Narbash, and I say, you know what, there's no point in dealing with Yin. You know, she might come up behind us, but I'm not really threatened by Yin solo, as well as my team. We have vision on her. You know, my team is rotating to me. You can see they kind of turned around and they were going, hey, we might deal with her, but it's like, hey, let's just push a tower. You know, let Narbash chase her off. That's exactly what he's doing. You know, Narbash is playing pretty offensively, but like I said, it is time to actually down towers, down objectives. When you have Prime, going for objectives is absolutely huge. And you can see we turn this game. We go from having a pretty successful game to having just tons of advantage. Yin does end up getting out and, you know, or she heads in a bad way. We're able to take her out, and the enemy team actually ends up surrendering right when we down this in hit. Now, this was a really fun match. I really enjoy Kwang with this more offensive deck. You know, it's nice not playing the same old defensive hero as well. And Kwang is a very good hero, guys. If you are thinking about getting into Kwang, I would highly recommend trying out this deck. It is a later game deck, though. You know, your early game does suffer, but it's very solid and very enjoyable to play. Well, that's going to wrap it up. If you did enjoy this video, show me some love. Leave me a comment. Think about subscribing. If you haven't joined our Discord, do it because I'd love to see y'all in there. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.